What if the platforms you use every day, like Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok, became tools for control instead of connection? Imagine a world in which every post, every like, and every share is controlled by one all-powerful government. That could really happen if China controls the entirety of social media. Imagine if free speech becomes limited, surveillance increases, and propaganda spreads. This could change the entire world. How would elections, human rights, or even the truth survive in a world where China controls this information? Let's find out. Global control of social media. If China took over global platforms like Facebook, Instagram, or even YouTube, the internet would be used for censorship, spying on people, and spreading propaganda. Every post you see, every video you watch, and every story you share could be checked and approved by a government known for stopping people from speaking out and changing stories. China already has a way to do this, the infamous Great Firewall. This digital fortress blocks countless foreign websites and uses the Cyberspace Administration of China, CAC, to watch and control what its people can see. Local platforms like WeChat and Weibo are closely monitored, taking away anything seen as critical of the government. China's censorship methods evolve constantly, deploying advanced technology to identify and block sensitive content. A single flagged post can block entire online communities, creating a chilling effect on free speech. But it wouldn't just be about censorship. With control over social media, China could use these platforms for mass spying. Imagine a world where the government watches not just only its Chinese citizens, but everyone on Earth, following private messages, web browsing, and even your location through GPS. This new level of spying would give China unmatched power to stop anyone from opposing its laws anywhere in the world. Since President Xi Jinping, China has been aggressively seeking to influence global media. It has done so by spying on users and promoting propaganda. And covert operations flood social media with messages in favor of China while silencing independent videos. Expansion of surveillance networks. Imagine this. Everything you post, every like you give, and every photo you share on social media is recorded in a huge surveillance system. If China took control of social media around the world, this scary situation could really happen. Social media wouldn't only be for connecting with friends or sharing funny cat pictures. It would be used to monitor your behavior and predict your actions. China already leads the world in surveillance, with 400 million AI-powered CCTV cameras watching its citizens. Imagine if they applied that on a global scale. China also owns TikTok, an app with more than 1 billion users worldwide. Thanks to TikTok, the Chinese government has access to so much personal information, including biometric data, GPS locations, private messages, and browsing habits. This is not just an assumption, because in 2020, leaked documents showed that TikTok shares data with Chinese authorities, which worried people worldwide. The implications are much more than just privacy. Watching people this closely could change how we live. For instance, if they can see GPS data, authorities could track activists or journalists who speak against the government no matter where they are in the world. This is not an unlikely idea, since China has already used similar methods to quiet opposition in places like Xinjiang, where Uyghurs are always watched. A Pew Research study found that 60% of TikTok users don't realize how much personal data the app collects. Yet, ByteDance, TikTok's parent company, reportedly gathers 10 times more data than apps like Facebook or Instagram. From facial recognition data to keystroke patterns, the level of detail is staggering. Now, scale this to other platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and you're looking at a surveillance net covering billions of people. Companies, countries, and other international users of these platforms would need to be cautious too, as secret information, private messages, or military strategies could be leaked due to these vulnerabilities. Suppression of free speech. Freedom of speech could disappear entirely. If the Chinese government dominates social media, people won't be able to express themselves. It'll use these platforms to suppress all opposing views and make people obey its laws. Any opinion, criticism, or even a funny picture that opposes what China wants will disappear overnight without any apparent reason, and users will live in fear of speaking up. Not to mention that China is already the leader in suppressing online speech, since over 67,000 social media accounts have been banned in the span of 1 month for posting content deemed anti-government. The Great Firewall ensures that the local platforms, such as WeChat and Weibo, are monitored and regulated carefully. Posts and accounts are removed if they oppose official stories. All global discussions about issues such as human rights problems in Xinjiang or protests in Hong Kong would be silenced. China is keen on making people respect and obey them, since international companies have already bowed to their demands for censorship, like Apple, who removed apps supporting Hong Kong protests, or LinkedIn that blocked the accounts of researchers and journalists who were critical of the Chinese government. With China able to control the global reach of social media, freedom of speech would become non-existent since it could impose their laws on billions of users instead. The effects would be felt everywhere. Activists who use social media to inform people would see their work disappear. Journalists writing about important topics could be blocked or made less visible so no one would see their stories. Even regular users sharing harmless content could be caught up in systems meant to find bad material. It's not just about censorship, it's about instilling fear, knowing that any post could lead to losing your account or worse, which in consequence makes people hold back what they say. Media companies, NGOs, and even governments might stop criticizing China because they would be scared of backlash. The internet, that was once used to share ideas around the world, could turn into a tool for spreading one-sided information. Propaganda and misinformation. If China controlled international platforms, propaganda would be in every corner, silencing independent voices and reshaping global opinions. China's 50-cent army has significantly influenced the online narratives. This group, with an alleged 2 million people paid 50 cents per post, floods social media outlets with messages in support of government policies. Some of these methods include praising the policies of China, attacking people who criticize it, or flooding the platform with trivia to mask unfavorable issues. According to a Harvard study, China generates almost 448 million comments on social media each year. Could you imagine having to monitor and filter out every single post across every platform? Accounts that China has control over framed protesters as violent crowds and praised the government's response to the Hong Kong riots. Assuming China gains absolute control over global platforms, most of these fake stories would most probably spread better and alter how the whole world looks at such big events. In 2020, Twitter and Facebook found thousands of fake accounts associated with China, meant to target activists and spread misinformation about sensitive topics like Taiwan and Xinjiang. If China fully owned these platforms, no one would be left to expose such moves. The results could be very bad. Elections could be swayed by AI-driven propaganda campaigns, targeting users with ads and posts designed to manipulate their views. And policies in democratic countries may change because of public pressure created by false information. For example, stories against the US or the European Union may become popular, thereby weakening trust in partnerships and upsetting global politics. At the end of the day, if China's way of controlling information in its country by using censorship, lies, and propaganda becomes the norm for the whole world, social media would stop being a place for open discussion and become a closely monitored space. Free speech would be dimmed and propaganda would change the way we think, which, in turn, might change how we communicate with each other and perceive the world. What do you think? Did we miss an important point, or do you have something you'd like to share? Let us know what you think in the comments below. We want to hear from you. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content like this. Your support helps us bring you these in-depth looks into topics that matter.